you, Bruno. Thank you for being here again. As you can see, I'm not in my living room apartment. I'm on Vancouver Island visiting family. And so this is where I grew up kind of thing. So just if you're wondering. So let's start today with feet out just a little wider than shoulder width and sink down. Not too much, just starting. Bring your hands up. And now imagine there's a giant record in front of you, like an old style record, and you're going to follow it as it turns in a circle. Now what you're doing here, you know, go slow with it, but is you're going to go to your balance point on the back corner, across to the other back corner, to the front corner, to the other front corner, and then around. So you're feeling where your balance is from every angle, every direction, as you turn in the circle. But remember, like always, it's the dantian, the center from the hips, that move first. The hands follow. And now go the other way. Again, feel the weight on every corner of the foot, on every balance point on the foot. Rolling. Now, come back to the middle position and see the circle in your mind that we just drew, right? See the circle. And now superimpose upon the circle a figure 8. So we're going to go to the outer corner on the right, and then we're going to go to the other corner, the back corner on the left, and then out, and then across to the other back corner. So you're drawing a figure 8. Now keep doing that, and you're going to excuse me because I just realized I can move the camera to a better position and I can have more better light. So just keep doing that, and let me just move my camera. This is better for me. Okay, good. Go. So we're doing that. We're drawing a figure 8. And now we're going to breathe 3 times. Hands fall down. Breathe in. Sink down as you breathe in. And then as your hands fall, rise up slightly. Again, sinking down as you breathe in. And up slightly as you breathe out. And then one more. And out. Now, left foot forward, right foot back. And what we're going to do is we're going to put our left hand on our left hip. I'm going to take our right shoulder and we're going to draw it forward. We'll do it forward today. So we're going to bring it to the back and we're going to bring it forward. And then it's going to come back. So this is the figure 8 now between the 2 shoulders. Here and then to here. So you think about that shape you just drew in front of you, and now you think about it between your 2 legs. So there's one dynamic to the other dynamic. One dynamic to the other. Now, putting your mind into your right shoulder. As you go forward, push the right hip forward. Really make this part of the turn focal point in your mind. And as you do that, watch as your hand gets thrown forward and then has to sort of lag as it comes back, right? So there's a moment here where there's a lag and then it gets thrown forward and then a lag. And now let the elbow express more of that movement. So let the elbow come forward and up more and then across and back and down. And remember, it's your hip rolling forward, your hip rolling back. And now bring your mind out to your hand. Bring your hand right across in front of your face, palm out, pinky finger up. And then when you come forward, think of like slapping upwards, right? Like you're going up like a underhand pitch in a softball, and then up, and then you roll and come back. Now, this is the full rotation of the shoulder, the elbow, and the hand. So maximize the feeling of it. Particularly on the way back, let this hand reach into that back corner and pull with this moment here where the shoulder is open. And this should be very relaxing. This should let you release all the tension in your shoulder. And then come back up, switch feet, and then the left shoulder, coming back and then being pushed forward. Coming back and then being pushed forward. And then particularly starting to notice the lag here. Let the hand kind of come up and then lag and then come back. Like you threw a ball up in the air and then it takes a moment to turn around and come down. And then let the elbow come up higher and back. Let the elbow come up higher and back. And now bring your mind into your hand, draw back, have the turnaround, come upwards with the palm and back. Full rotation of the arm. And then left foot to right, breathe in. Breathe out. Around the hips to the ground. Stretch. Breathe in. And then open upwards. And then shake it off. All right. Let's work a little bit on balance and strength. So feet shoulder width. Hold the ball. Hold whatever you want to hold. Just something in your hands like this. Now shift your weight to your right foot. Bring your left foot across to your right foot. And just bring your knee to your elbow. Up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now bring your knee up to the opposite elbow. 1, and then back down. Sorry, with feet shoulder width apart. My apologies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now bring it up to the left knee, up to the left elbow, then the right elbow, then down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the opposite, so opposite elbow to the same elbow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Now, right knee, straight up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposite knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now opposite knee, same side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then same side to opposite side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Now let's just work the leg muscles a couple times. Point your toes out slightly, hands here like this in front. Sit down as low as you can, touch the ground if you can. Come back up, reach on your tippy toes, and down again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Shake it out a bit. Put your feet out in the horse riding stance. Sink down. Now, always remember the pelvic tilt. Back is straight. And visualize the rectangle that I've talked about before here. Okay. Put your left hand at the top right corner of the rectangle. Put your right hand at the bottom right corner of the rectangle. Now, turn from your waist and bring your hands to the other side of the rectangle. Now, the hand that's on the bottom goes to the top, and the hand that's on the top goes to the bottom, and then it comes back across. And then you just repeat. But notice that my palms are always pointing outwards. Point outwards, point outwards. And I'm moving from my waist. Across from one side to the other. Now, think about your breathing as you keep moving. Where are you breathing from? Are you breathing in your belly? Are you breathing up in your chest? Try to relax, breathe deeper, but only by relaxing. Don't force it. Now, left foot to right, breathe in. And then let your hands fall like leaves. Again. And one last time. Good. All right, so let's do a stretch. Put your feet out. Horse riding stance, big one. Put your toes outwards. Sink down. Go side to side. Turn the feet forward. Elbows down. Push the knees out. Reach forward. Hands about an inch off the ground. And then reach and grab the back of your ankles and pull your head down. Straighten your back. Turn to the right, elbow to the knee, look up. Other way. Straighten your back. Turn to your left and stretch to the side. Keep your hips level. Now, lean in. So you're putting all your weight on your left foot right now. Your right foot's just going away from you. Turn to runner stretch. Knee down, push your weight forward. Shift your weight back, Tai Chi stretch down. Flip your foot, turn to look to the right. Back is straight, push in, keep your hips level. Lean into it. Runner stretch. Put the back knee down, reach, step forward. Shift back and sink down. Hands to the middle, work the feet in. Hang for a moment, stretch. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then work your hips in a circle to release the stretch. Other way. Good. And then upper body stretch. Hands out. Rotate the wrists forward. Keep the elbows straight away from the shoulders though, so your hands are very far apart. And then wrists and elbows. And then big circles forward from the shoulders. And then backwards. And then just the wrists and elbows, keeping the elbows far away from the shoulders. And then just the wrists backwards. And then take the beach ball, breathe in. Throw it away. 1, 2, 3. And reach up. Look up at your hands. Push your fingertips up, high as you can. Now slowly bring your weight forward to the front of your foot and now push your heels way up. And then push your toes down for counterbalance. So your heels are being pushed up, your toes are being pushed down. And then let your feet down, twist your left palm up this way, and pull the shoulder open. Switch hands, pull the shoulder open. And then reach up one more time. But this time when you go to your tippy toes, turn your palms to the outside this way. Okay, ready? Tippy toes. Push the palms out and up. Now push your thumbs and your pinky finger as high as they can specifically. Think about those digits. And then let your heels down. Let your hands come down. Grab the ball. Bring the ball to the chest. And then let it go. And then roll your shoulders very gently forwards and very gently backwards. Good. And then our wrist stretch. So left hand out, pull back. Come back and in and twist out. Push back and up. And then turn the hand here, grab, twist, and push back. Give it a little shake. And then another hand out and pull back. Come back, twist. Out and push. And then here, my elbow is bent, grab, twist, and push back. Give it a shake. And then put your hands on your hips. Get your shoulders square, and then turn side to side. Now roll your chin one way, and roll your chin the other way. Roll your chin one way, and roll your chin the other way. Look forward and look up. Look down. And then circle. 1, 2, 3, other way. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Anybody have any water? If you want to get some water real quick, go ahead. Okay, so before we jump into the form today, I want to introduce the idea of basics. Again, I mean, I've talked about basics before, but I mean, I really want to introduce it as a fundamental part of training. So in karate, because I know a little bit more vocabulary sometimes with this, there's this idea that there's 3 components of training called Kihon, Kata, and Kumite. So they are exactly the right idea for any martial arts system. The kata is the form. So this is the kata of Tai Chi. It's the form. Kumite is actually working with other people, largely improvised, but training with other people. We can't do that, obviously, so that part doesn't count right now. But Kihon is the building blocks, the fundamental building blocks. So I want to look at a building block today, and hopefully the idea is that by developing more skill with a specific individual technique, you develop more insight into all the techniques you practice. Because it's marvelous in this journey of developing this kind of thing. It's not how many techniques you know, it's how well you can express any technique. In fact, I'll tell you a very quick Zen parable about that idea, which is based off, I believe, a true story in Japan of a very famous poet, a classical poet, hundreds of years ago, but a very famous one. And he was training under a known poetry master. And this is like haiku, but like the expanded versions of this idea. A known master. He was training under a known master. So he was training under this master, and the master made him recite and write out this one classical poem endlessly, backwards and forwards, every different way you can dissect it and put it back together, and all of this stuff. And after years of spending all this time on this one poem, he gets frustrated with his teacher and says, teach me something else. Why am I only learning one thing? If I'm going to go and participate in this world of poetry, I have to have lots of poems to be able to use. And the teacher said, no, I will only teach you this one poem. And he didn't quit immediately, but he quit soon thereafter. This is many years of training down the road, though, of course. And so he leaves, and he goes traveling on the road. And back in Japan at that time, you could go into poetry houses and recite poetry, and it was kind of like their version of like celebrities almost, like, or a musician today would be, kind of, where you're a performance artist in a sense. And so he went and he recited the one poem he knew. And he was instantly a hit. Like instantly, everybody was like, this guy is an amazing poet. What is this? And he found very quickly that he could learn all the other poems very quickly, because he knew so well how the fundamental of one worked and it related to all of the other ones. And so this is the same thing in the martial arts stuff. This is that idea. So let's look at a Kihon, or a basic, okay? Let's go back to what we often talk about in the beginning of class, which is we have our left foot forward, right foot back. And what we're going to do is we're going to think of moving forward and moving back. So this again is our fundamental. Forward and back. And we're going to take the very end of catching a sparrow by its tail and come back with the wrists high, fingers heavy. The hands come down. They come to the position just outside the floating ribs, and then they push away. Back and forward. So just start to do that motion. This is the breath in, this is the breath out, of course. Keep doing it. Now, be mindful that when you bring your weight back to your right foot, your left foot, the toes come up. And all the weight sort of crouches onto this leg. And then when you go forward, the weight stays rooted on the right leg until the middle of the stance. And then as the weight goes onto the front of the left foot, you push forward, keeping that back leg connected. So crouch and push. Back and push. Back. Push. Back. And push. Now, when you bring your weight forward, put your left foot down as if it's like a sensor pad where you're scanning with your foot the environment around the foot. So there's a lot of awareness right here. And that awareness gets pulled back and put into the right foot. So push your mind to your left foot, push your mind to your right foot. Now, if you watch my hands when I come forward, see the position they're in? The fingers are slightly to the outside, they're not here, and my forearm is almost rubbing the side of my body. Now, a few more details. Imagine you're holding something in your hands. And then you go forward, you push it forward level to the front. But when you come back, your back heel or back hip turns a little in, and you draw to the right hip more, and then you push back to the front of the left foot. So the right hand comes in a little more. Now what I'm doing then is I'm making the figure eight. The figure eight is coming from the front corner of the left to the back corner on the right, and then through, or making half of it, maybe you could say. And now I'm going to start putting some fajing into the technique. Fajing is the snapping power, the whipping power. The first point that I want to develop is to come back. And as you go forward, right at the very end, right hand, just a little bit, just the right hand. Okay, so it comes back, forward, and then right there, as if I'm doing this. Here, see? 1, 2, 3. Now, left hand, same idea. So I come forward, and then right at the end of the push, explosive movement with the left hand, okay? 1, 2, 3. And then we put them both together. So they both explode at the end. 1, 2, 3. Now, that's the outer expression, right? The yang energy going out. Now the yin energy coming back can also have fijing. So I can go here. So I push and then I go very quickly to this, as if I'm doing the beginning of the form. So do this, come back, push out, and now very quickly pull to your back hip and raise your wrist. And then come back. 2, 3. Okay, so that could be happening with each hand as well, right? I can come forward and go, right? But I want to do both. But I want it to go like this. So this pull in is very fast. And then push out slowly. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Now again, that could be with either hand. So, or, right? Final step, and then I'm going to give you a chance to really play with it, is instead of just standing here like this, I'm going to move around so that my left foot stays in front of me, right? Stays as my lead foot, but keep this motion going and turn in random directions. So go ahead, try that. Even if you're in a small space, you can still turn around, but you just got to remember your left foot stays in front. And then wherever you feel like you want to do it, you add that snapping power. And then stop. Shake it off. Breathe in. And out. 2. And 3. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side, but I won't take as long getting through all the different parts. So right foot forward and just get the dynamic, basic dynamic. Now, paying attention, foot goes all the way to the left foot and crouches, the weight crouches. The weight goes all the way to the right foot and balances on the front of the right foot. Now we're going to go through the hands together, so we're not going to isolate them for a moment. So we're going to start with the push out strong at the end, but only at the end. So 1, slow, and then at the end, 2, and 3. Now, the entire push out very fast. So it comes in, and the whole thing goes out fast, okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay, now the reverse. The fast part is after you push, you go up very quickly, okay? So come in, slowly out, and then 1, 2, 3. And then the whole pull in is fast. 1, 2, 3. And now do it on your own and move around. Keep your right foot in front. Add in the snapping part wherever you feel fit. And then shake it off. Okay, so that was one little part of a technique and just a basic take on some of the moments that you can add power to it to develop it. Now, I don't have a person with me to train with, but I want to remind you about the applicational ideas here and how they were relevant to these movements. First, if you need to protect yourself, as we said, I think last week or the week before, the first part of the form is the I don't want to fight position. Hands are here. Now, somebody tries to attack you, and you see it happening, of course, because it's not the same thing if you don't see it, but you see it. Their hands are almost always going to come up, and they're almost always going to be reaching in like this. In a punch or a reach or even a hooking punch, it's all this kind of idea of bringing the energy forward. So your hands are up. Now, if the hand comes in between the two hands, right, somebody's punching in the middle, then this motion on the outside of the arm knocks them this way. But if they're coming in, their hand comes in the middle and you use the hand that's on the inside of their arm, that motion hits them in the face. If you do it both at the same time, you can come over and hit the face and hit the side of the head at the same time. And then you get into this, right? Because you grab the head. If they grab you, if they actually have their hands on you, you just naturally go into that stance and come back and you pull their weight forward because they grabbed you and you're pulling their weight forward, and then you hit this way towards the face, towards the chest, depending on what's available. So that's the pushing away stuff in a very basic way, but a very important concept that you attack whatever you can with your hands from here, right? You say, I don't want to fight. And they attack you, you just try to hit things as best you can with those hands coming out. I will talk about more details in time, but that's a good start. So this part here, this is a little more advanced, but the concept is if they're punching at you, and again, you're more used to that, you're comfortable in that place. When the punch comes in, all you got to do is just a little deflection and it deflects the punch. Because its trajectory is a straight line. And you just bump it off that line just a little bit and it loses all its power. So this is where you get moves like this in a lot of the Kung Fu animal systems, where they're just bang, 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 bang. Okay? So that's just this part here. Just a good blocking position. But the final one I'll point out is if somebody grabs your wrist and you go like this and you get the first part of this here, you can usually reach and grab their arm by coming up on the outside like this and grabbing, and then you go like this. And when you do that, they get jerked forward very powerfully. And then from there, you push away again because they've been pulled off balance. It tends to be quite effective. Okay? So that's just one little move, as I said, as a basic, but you can explore lots with that. Do I have any questions about that move or any of the concepts that I just introduced? I guess we gotta wait for, yeah, you can write in the questions, I guess, right? Because I want to make sure you guys understood that. But if not, we'll move on to the form then, okay? So I guess I'll face the other way. And last class, we ended up getting to here. I hope you guys can all kind of get there again. Please let me know if you don't, okay? Please let me know if you don't. So from here, standing, relax. Weight sinks down. Left foot comes up. I step across. Rolling on the outside of the toes. Weight shifts to the center. Hands fall. Looking forward. Seeing peripheral vision. And then the hands fall, come up. And then they come down. And then you turn to the right. And you pour the water. You pick up the thermos. And you throw the thermos to the corner. You rock your weight back to your right foot. You turn in the left foot. You pull in your right foot. And you protect your head and your chest, your right and left hand respectively. And you step out with your right foot and you push away. You grab the tray with two hands. You grab the ball and you draw another figure eight. There's a lot of these. And then when you put your hands to here, you throw away the ball. And now we do the move we just spent a bunch of time with. And you think about all the possibilities that are in that move. Then you look to the front Your left foot comes to your right foot. You look, you step out with your left foot, and then you brush your hands to one side, and then you brush your hands to the other side. Your left knee comes up to your left elbow as your right hand makes a crane beat. Your left foot comes down, steps out, and expands into single whip posture. Okay? Everybody's kind of getting there okay? Yeah. If you're not, let me know if I need to review or I can just jump ahead. So I'll do it one more time. And then if nobody's asking any questions, I'll jump ahead, okay? So from here, 1. Up. Down. Turn. Push. Up. Throw. Back. Turn. Pull in. Push away. Double tray. And 1. Push. Look. Left foot in and then out. 1, 2. Knee up, down, and posture. Okay? Okay, I'm assuming everybody's good to there, so let's have a look at the next move. So I'm going to do it facing the camera. We'll talk about a couple dynamics. The most important dynamic here is a thing called critical distance. Critical distance is actually really interesting right now because it's not too far off social distancing, which is interesting. But what it means is that it's the distance in which you don't allow somebody into your space without trusting them, especially in a martial context, in a self-defense context. The reason is, if you're standing, well, the concept is about 36 inches, is that if I'm standing here and I don't move my back foot, my right foot, the furthest I can strike is right to there, okay? This extension to there is as far as I can strike. That's critical distance. So anything outside of that distance, I can't hit without moving both of my feet. And that means there's a lot of time before I would be close enough to strike. So the concept is you never let someone into the critical distance of your spacing without trusting them in a martial context. Obviously in normal life, if you're on different situations outside of the, today with COVID and all that, you get in crowded places, that was normal. But if you feel threatened by someone and you're saying, I don't want to fight, do not think that it's okay to let them walk up to you and stand right in front of your face, because they can hit you and you can't block that because you can't respond in time. You have to see a movement, you have to perceive a movement to respond to it. If the person's right up here, you just don't see it. It just comes out of nowhere. Life's not easy, and that's only a general rule. I'm not saying that you can't, you got to play with things, but that's the rule, idea. Okay. So when we're here, I'm looking to my left, and I'm going to look back to the front. Now, as I look back to the front, I see somebody charging in like this to do a double grab, but I'm going to make sure I intercept them before they come into my space. Okay, I'm going to intercept as they come into the critical distance. So the way to do that is first to shift your weight from your left foot to your right foot. And as you do that, bring your 2 hands up like you're diving into water here. Okay, now what's going on here is that my index fingers are trying to almost touch, but they're not quite. And there's a slight angle outwards with the palms. Because what I want is their arm to slide on the top of my hand here, this way, okay? Which is not a lot different than this. So for here, I go left leg to right leg and draw my hands up like that. So what happens is they come running in, my hands are on the inside, their arms go around the outside of my arm here, right? Now, from here, I'm going to transfer my weight back to my left foot and bring my right foot across. Okay, so just do that much. So go to here, 1. Now transfer the weight. So now my weight's on my left foot and I'm here. So, sorry, one more time, here, here. But now as I transfer my weight to my left foot, I'm gonna draw 2 big circles with my hands. And then draw my fingers up to the sky. Okay, do it again. My weight's on my left foot, I'm looking to the left. I bring weight to the right foot, I look to the front, my hands come up to dive into the water. I wrap around, transfer my weight back to my left foot. Now there's a moment here I'll point out. I go 1. Now my hands are coming around, my weight is transferring, but my foot here has to go to there. As it does, my hands are drawing in as well. So there's a connection between the hands and the foot to here. And then when I'm here, I bend at the elbows and I point my fingers upwards and I bring my hands up. So it's a very distinct kind of movement, right? I'm not going like this, I'm going like this. Okay? So do it again. 1, 2, 3. Again. And you can see the chi ball coming up again, right? We have the thermos, we have the ball, we have the ball. Here it is again. Fingers. Explain best I can. Somebody's coming in to grab, double grab like this. As they do, you go up underneath their arms and you point your index fingers at their eyes so that they kind of pull back. That's part of the technique. Then your hands are on the inside of their arms, right? You're going to grab around their elbows and roll their elbows around, trapping the front of their hand under your armpit. And then you're going to raise up like this. And what that does is it makes them go like this. Okay? So think about that. You're here. You look, you see a double grab coming in at you, and you receive it by going in the middle of the 2 hands and letting them go to the outside of your arms. You're grabbing their elbows. You're rolling their elbows up, trapping their wrists under your armpits, bringing your foot across, and then bringing them up like this, symbolized by doing this. In actual application, you have to hold your hands here like this because you got to keep trapping under the elbow. But in the form, you bring your fingers up, okay? But visualization. One more time. Here. 1. See the grab come in, meet it. Wrap the arms. Shift the weight. Bring them up on their tippy toes. Okay? So if a person's like this, right, on their tippy toes, their instinct is going to be want it to come down. Okay? So go to here again. 1, 2. Now, their instinct is to want to come down. Remember, you're holding their elbows here. It would be more about here at application, but here in the form. Your hands are going to drop to allow that. So they're going to be pushing down. You let them come down. But as your hands are coming down, your right knee is coming up. Like this. So see how my hands are at the lowest point and my knee is at the highest point? Then my hands come back up. And then my hands come down like this and my foot stomps forward and down here at the same time. So it's a pretty complex move. Let's do it again. Bring them up. See the person on their tippy toes. Drop them off their tippy toes into your knee. So you're hitting them with the knee as their head comes down. And then you're coming up and you're going to hit the back of the neck and stomp on their foot at the same time. Okay, so the person goes up like this, right? Then you go down, and as they come down, you help them and they kind of go too far, and then you hit them with the knee, right? Like this. The knee comes up here. So they're like this. And that's when your hands come back down. And your hands are hitting along the inside of the neck, or the outside of the neck here on the back, in this area, and they're coming together in a V shape. Okay? So again, the person tries to grab you, you wrap their arms, you bring them up. You let them come down into your knee, boom, and then you hit the back of the neck, there. And that's not all that's going on here. The other thing that's going on is the foot. So when I'm here, my foot comes up, my knee comes up, and what I'm going to do is point my toes to the outside and stomp down and forward here. See, the motion is like this. Okay, so this is an angle with the foot. It's an angle kind of like this, right? Here. See how that is? Now that's what I'm doing is I'm going to kick the knee this way and push this way, here. Now there's a few things you can do with that I'll mention, because this is a good technique unto itself. I can go up and down the shin. That's very painful. I can kick into the knee. It's very painful. I can stomp on the top of the foot and put pressure forward and they fall back, and that's also pretty effective. I can just stomp on the foot, and then finally I can actually use my heel to kick pressure points along the inside of the leg. Very useful technique. But keeping it in the context we're working, the person gets kneed, and then as the hands hit them here, you're stomping on the inside of their shin, and then that's the end of that. They're not going to keep fighting. So here, 1, intercept, wrap the arms. Now bring them up on their tippy toes. Bring them down off their tippy toes into your knee. Bring your hands back up. See them, they're leaning forward in front of you. Hit the back of the head and the knee at the same time here. Okay? How are we doing for time? Just want to check. Good, yeah. So we got through it. Let's review it a couple more times, put it in context, and that's our move for today, okay? So I'll face this way, but I want to go from here. So brush aside once to the left, twice to the right. Now everything comes up, steps down, out, and I look to the left. Then I look back to the front as I bring my hands up. I draw the circles. I shift my weight to my left foot. My right foot's in front. My hands come up. My knee comes down, and my knee comes up, my hands come down. Hands at the lowest point, knee at the highest point. Hands come back up. Everything comes down together, and then we're stopping here because that's a fun place to stop. Okay? So let's put it together in context with the rest of the form, but I'll turn around again, and please let me know if you have any questions. So just from here, breathe in, and out. Now, look to the front. Shift the weight. Draw your circles. Shift the weight again. Point up to the sky with the hands. Drop the hands. Raise the knee. Bring the hands up and down. Okay, so do we got time for anything else? Yes, you know what, there's 3 minutes. If you guys don't mind, why don't you try to do that yourself? See if you can do it. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Yeah, a little confusion at the end there. Okay. But that's great. That's a hard move. There's a lot going on there. But you can also see that we're going to have to, at some point, not be able to review any, like the whole thing. It's just going to be too much. So we're going to have to be focusing on little chunks. So that's where I want you guys to give me feedback. Tell me what you need to work on. Okay. But that's our time for today. Thank you very much. Yeah. Any questions? We can do it for a sec or.